Countdown to Kickoff is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. And also by Craig International, a truly global company with 10 offices strategically placed around the world. The future of global procurement is right here. Next up for the Dons, we're at Pittodrie again, and this time we welcome St Johnstone. Kick-off on Saturday afternoon at the Grand Old Lady is at 3 o'clock. Just to put the game into context for you, so there we are, currently sitting in 8th position. A win tomorrow would just about, technically, mathematically, secure our Premiership status for another season. So we know what we have to do tomorrow. 3 points. It's all there for everybody to see. Let's get the job done and let's move on. Hi everybody, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Friday night. This is the preview show, Countdown to Kickoff. So very much looking forward for your interaction tonight. Get involved, come and join the chat. If you're watching for the first time, how you doing? Welcome. Just leave your thoughts, leave your messages about the game tomorrow. Only a handful of games left now to the end of the season. And then no doubt there'll be a bit of a busy summer. We come back and we go again. So there's lots of exciting things to look forward to. And if you've got anything to say, come and do it here. But away you go, away you go. But do keep your comments respectful, please, always. And when you interact with each other, again, just be very mindful of being respectful to each other. This is a place where we wish for everything to be safe. So tonight, we have a ABTV debutant. Former Aberdeen forward, winger, occasional left back, Willie Falconer is going to be having a chat with me. So I caught up with Willie earlier today from his home in Bothwell. We chatted a little bit about the Dons' current predicament, and we also had a little chat about his time at Pittodrie. So that's coming up a little bit later. Usual bits and pieces to get through, but of course the show is about you guys, so do get in touch. Now, there's a couple of things that I just need to, before we get on to stuff, there's a couple of things I need to very quickly do for you. So, I have to be honest, I've looked to see how to do this, and I've got absolutely no idea how to do it. And maybe you guys can be the wiser and you can help me with this. So this week, I've had requests from viewers who watch ABTV and would like to sort of contribute financially to the channel and support me with the initiatives that I've got coming up. One of them is gifting memberships to other viewers. Now, I've looked into it. I did a quick Google search and I've sent the people the emails. But I remember a wee while ago, somebody gifted a membership to another viewer. If you're watching, can you let me know if you are and how you did it? Because I've looked and I'm baffled. I've got no idea. And also, I got told that you can donate to the channel as well. And it can be as little as 50 pence. It can be as much as whatever you want. And I remember somebody gifted me it was brilliant. It was on the anniversary of the birthday of Aberdeen, and they gifted me 1903, so 19 quid and 3 pence, which I thought was brilliant. But again, I've looked to try and do that to see how you do it, and I'm absolutely none the wiser. And you're probably sitting there going, come on, Ali, you really need to get across how to do these things on your own channel. So for me, every day is a school day on YouTube, and I'm learning probably just as much as you guys. So if you have any idea how to do that, let us know. That would be great. Right, first thing. I'm going to predict the team news, and I think there'll be changes from last week's game. So, I've got to be honest, I think the skipper will come back. Now, it's a debate, maybe a little point of contention, who knows? But I think the skipper will come back tomorrow, and I think Dante will drop out. Apart from that, I also think Duke will start, and what I'm hoping is that he'll start on the right-hand side, very much like what he did in the Scottish Cup semi-final. Now, I know Junior's been playing well. I like him a lot. I hope we can keep him for at least another year, because I still think he's got stuff to offer. I'm not overly convinced about his pace, let me put it that way. but I think his distribution is telling. Hence why I think I'd like to see Junior stay at the football club for another season or so. So what we'll do at this stage, as we always have to do, is clear the timeline. Now, I'm going to throw a spanner in the works because there was so much chat about the Youth Cup final. Did you watch the Youth Cup final? So I was able to watch it, and disappointed with the first half showing, but I thought the lads were much, much better in the second half, deservedly took the lead. And then, of course, they got the penalty. Now, I got to be honest, I'm going to put my tin hat on. I thought it was a penalty. For me, the lad's arm was in a V shape and it hit him on the elbow. Didn't it? Now, unless I'm going a bit mental, I thought it was a penalty. I know there was some, look, I'm not defending the referee, anything but, because I thought he had a shocker. For both sides, I thought he had a shocker. And obviously it was hugely disappointing the way the game ended up with the deflected goal and all that sort of stuff. But I thought, overall, the lads did themselves incredibly proud. And I thought they were fantastic on the night. I thought they did the club proud, the coaches proud, their parents proud, their friends proud, and the fans proud. And I was desperately sad for them because it would have been fantastic to win the trophy for the first time since 2001. But I think, going forward, you have to learn from that experience, and unfortunately got to take it on the chin and use that experience to make sure it doesn't happen again. So I really hope the young lads can kick on. I hope they learn from the experience. No doubt playing at Hampden would have been absolutely fantastic for them. Gutted for them, just gutted for them. But I got to be honest, I thought it was a penalty. Oh, I'm going to get grief. Right, so I've just put Peter Leven in, so we'll get his thoughts in just a moment. Predominantly about Yimi Talene. Right, where's Willie? Let's get Willie. There's Willie. He's in. Right, got those as well. Need to get... Oh, easy. Let's get the match stats in. Where's the match stats? There we go. Pick of the stats. I need to get that in as well. Sorry, just chat amongst yourselves. That's in now. And two more bits to get in. Hang on. Bear with me. I'm almost there. And one last piece, which we'll have a little chat about later. Right, that's us all in. So let's get to Peter's thoughts. So he said that Yimi is watching the games. The players know that, and they are playing for their careers as well. It is the here and now that matters the most, and we need to keep on collecting points for this football club. I have had the odd text with Yimi after the games. I had a brief chat with him yesterday on a couple of things in the summer, but nothing else for now. So I find it very, very interesting that obviously he's in constant dialect with Yimi Talene, and now obviously discussing potentially what could happen in the summer. Wouldn't you like to be a fly in the wall during that conversation? So, what we'll do, before we get Willie on, is we'll open it up a wee bit. I think I'm a bit scared to open it up. Wow, lots of you on tonight. Amazing. Okay, let me go right to the top. Right, let me just close that. Okay. Paul Ricci is on saying, good evening all. Big congrats to the young boys for the cup final on Wednesday. Harsh penalty robbed them, but we are used to getting robbed in finals with that lot. Sugarland is here. How you doing? He said, just watched the pre-match interviews with Gus McDonald and the manager. Why is it always the case on Red TV that you can hear the answers far more clearly than the questions? It's quite simple, mate. So whenever a journalist asks a question, they're not mic'd up. So there's no microphone. And I've said this to the football club a couple of times. They should have a handheld mic to hand to the journalists to be able to hear the questions being asked. But they've obviously not paid any attention. So that's the reason, because they're simply not mic'd up, or there's no handheld mic. Gordon Keith Ritchie says, evening all, tomorrow would be easy as we all know St Johnstone's tactics. We've got to get an early goal, then they'll have to open up and get a result and build for next season. Barry Cool is here. Hi Barry. Good evening Dandies. He said, massive well done to the youth team this week. You did yourself proud. Looks like the standard of upcoming referees are just as bad or getting worse. 4 wins and they win the league. Gavin Wilson has said, hi all, proud of the under-18s, glad they got the first goal, robbed though. Levine has done a better job than the pretendy manager in steadying the ship and not leaking goals. Richard Mickey McMillan has said, glad to be back, unlucky under-18s, come on you Reds for tomorrow. Barry Cole has said, quite an interesting point here, he said, so the seat next to me in the main stand is restricted view and they didn't sell it. It was a seat that you couldn't sell. I think that's what you're getting at, Barry. I offered to take the seat as an adult season ticket, but not at full price. They came back to me and said full price. Really? Really, mate? They didn't. And he says that the club have not come back to him after he said that he would not pay full price. Yeah. Gavin Wilson has said, I wish they'd hurry up and build a state-of-the-art stadium with no restricted viewing. Graham Barron is here. How are we doing, Graham? Good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Let's get a win and be safe of any playoff spot and refresh for next season. It's got 0-0 written all over it after our previous meetings with St Johnstone. Come on, you Reds. Transmission GGB says, fit like all. Paul Donaldson is asking how we're doing. Doing just fine, fella. Thank you. The musical box is asking how everybody is. Barry Cool is hoping that Peter puts Miofsky and Sokla up front tomorrow. He also says, damn midges. Musical box has said, massive game tomorrow as a win makes us safe. I don't believe we've got too much to worry about. Yes, Sugarland, you're quite right. So a win tomorrow and we are safe. St Johnstone still have to play Ross County, so both can't reach 41 points. Yep, you're absolutely spot on. I completely forgot that they have to play each other. Thank you, mate. Thank you, thank you. Kilted Warrior has said, good evening, dandies. Thank you, transmission. So, look, I'm trying to sort... I know some of you have said that the audio is not the best. Look, it's a cheap microphone. You know, I got no idea what's wrong with it. I'm doing my best. Sorry. Neil Strachan has said, hi, Ali. I think Aberdeen will batter St Johnstone, and I think the score will be 4-0 to us. Big Bojan will get a hat-trick, and Duke will score, and he's going to the game. Good lad, Neil. Transmission GGB in terms of, like, you know, the gifting people memberships and donating and all that sort of stuff. He says, I'm really sorry, I can barely work my phone, never mind these payment options. David Gold has said, good evening, I think you're right about Shinnie. Barry Cool has asked, is Mackenzie fit? He is. So in his press conference, Peter said that everybody is fit, that Jack took a knock but came through it and is back training and is fit. The musical box says, I agree about Hoylett. His legs may be gone, but he can make the ball do the work with telling crosses and passes. Graham Findlater has said, St Johnstone are honking. We need to put them to the sword tomorrow. Not only will it banish some sore home losses from earlier in the season, but we see is officially safe. Craig Levine will be fuming. The musical box says, it doesn't matter if you think it was a pen or not. It's done now and no appeals. Quite right. No point dwelling. No point dwelling. Sugarlander says, a midfield of Shinnie, Barron and Clarkson will struggle. Swap one out for Phillips or Polvara and we will be fine. Hobbit theory. We need one big guy in there. Yeah. Barry Cole in regards to the penalty in the game, he says there was a foul in the build-up to the penalty. There was, mate. You're quite right. Scott Farquhar is also talking about the penalty in the game, but saying how well the Dons played. Paul Donaldson said, I was at the Youth Cup final. We were the better team for the most of the second half. Lots of dangerous in-swinging corners from Alfie Stewart. Can't find the league table anywhere, but heard they could win. Yeah, so as somebody said earlier, 4 more games and they could wrap it up. Right, I'm doing my best with the old microphone here, guys, so I hope you can hear it okay. Right, hang on, let me go back because it's just dropped out a bit. Right, so look, there's Raymond Steele says penalty. Penalty? I got you, Raymond, I got you. He's told me to wise up. I've not heard that for ages. Wise up, Ali. Sorry, fella. Right, so we'll come back to those in just a moment. So, let's get Willie on. So, earlier today, I spoke to former Aberdeen striker, winger, occasional left-back, Willie Falconer, who obviously lived the dream. It's his debut on ABTV, so I was absolutely delighted to get him on. We spoke for nearly 10 minutes from his home in Bothwell, and we chatted a little bit about the Dons, a little bit about his time at Pittodrie. So I really hope you enjoy the chat. Welcome to the show for the first time, Willie Falconer. Hi Willie, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for jumping on. How are you keeping?
I'm very good, thanks, Alec.
Good man. Right, I want to fire straight in. Give me your general thoughts on Aberdeen's season.
Oh God, where do you start? It's just been a kind of roller coaster, you know. It just kind of seems to kind of fall into one disaster after another just now, you know. It's just a bit unstable. It must be a nightmare for the players as well. But it looks like in the last few games they're kind of getting their stuff together, to be honest.
So, obviously, there's been a lot of discussion about the new manager and the timing of when he's coming in. From a player's point of view, now that you know that a new manager is coming in, would you prefer to have him in earlier or later?
Personally, I think I would take him in earlier. Just because you could look at the squad, see what he's got. Depends who's out of contract. Depends who wants to be here next year, basically. So you could suss all that out. I think it's a hard one for the new manager coming in to start the season, starting from fresh. He's got to hit the ground running. To be honest with you, you know, I think the fans have kind of got a bit delusioned. What's happened in the last kind of 6 months, year, or whatever it may be. I just think he needs to kind of oversee what he's actually got there, what he's got in the academy, what kids he's got coming through. Just all ticking boxes before the season starts.
Yeah. Right, let's take in a little trip down memory lane. Obviously, local lad, done good, lived the dream. You must have some fantastic memories from your time at Aberdeen.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. I was really lucky. I came in at an era with Alec Ferguson, Archie Knox, Teddy Scott. The winning mentality was kind of drummed into at an early age. 16, 17-year-old, you're a winner, you're going to be a winner. You're going to go down to Parkhead, Ibrox and beat them every time you go down there. If not, you'll be up in Aberdeen Beach on a Sunday running up and down it. You know, so it was all this kind of mentality and building blocks and great memories. And as I say, the team are winning Scottish Cups, they're winning leagues, obviously the European Super Cup, the Cup Winners' Cup. So it was a mentality that you just thought this happens every year. You know, it was unbelievable for me at that age to come through, and the players you played with, the experience you got with the older players. The older players were brilliant, like I said, Willie Millers, your Mark McGee's, your Alec McLeish's, looked after all the kids at that time when you were coming through. So it was a great place to be, and the city was booming at the time as well, obviously with the oil as well. So it was a place to be back in that day.
Were you the type of player, Willie, that because of the caliber of player that was in front of you, did you always know that a degree of patience was required for you to break through?
Yeah, well, it's funny because over the years, you talk to people, whether it be journalists or family or whatever, about your time at Aberdeen, and you say, well, why did you never play so many games? And I'm thinking, well, I had Mark McGee, I had Eric Black, and I had John Hewitt in front of me to get past them three. And that days it was like mostly a 4-4-2. So two of that players were going to play. One of them was going to be on the bench. So you had to bide your time if one of them got injured, if one of them suspended, or what, one of them dropped out because missed form or whatever it may be. So then you had Frank McDougall come into it as well, you know. So you had all these guys in front of you, and as kids at a young age, you were kind of, obviously I came through at that time as a striker, so that was my position at Aberdeen at the time, in the early days. So yeah, you had these players in front of you, and it was funny. You learned off of them, you bounced off them, you learned off them. One I'll never ever forget is even Eric Black. So Eric's obviously a few inches smaller than me. I used to watch Eric going for a ball in the air, and he used to jump early. So a simple thing like that I used to take on board, and I used to use it all through my career, that you'd get up first, jump early, get a touch on or get a header in the box or whatever. So that was good until you came up with guys like Richard Gough and Roy Aitken. So when you're on the way up, then you get a dig in the ribs from them, you know, and then you're on the way down and they're on the way up, you know. But it was, as I say, it was all a learning curve, just watching these guys in front of you and how they went about the things.
If you could look back and have a real fondest memory, what would be your fondest memory?
Fondest memory would be just being a local boy and going in there knowing at school that I was going to go in full time into Aberdeen. That was a huge thing back then, you know, and it was brilliant for the family, your friends, your mates back at that time, you know. Football wise, as I say, I was lucky to get a couple of medals along the way at that time at a really young age. And it was just, as I said earlier, it was just being about the place at the time. You know, you just, the football back then was just full of characters, you know, and everybody talks about like your Neil Coopers and that, you know, just guys in the dressing room that made that a winning mentality, you know.
How was Sir Alex with you?
No, listen, he was really good. It was like at that age, you learn fast, you know. But he was good. He was good to me, but he would never let you know it. To be honest, you know.
Sorry, Willie. Did he treat local lads any different to lads that came up from down south?
Not really. I think the only thing that he did do was he came up to the house to meet my mum and dad before I'd signed an S form, I think it was. He used to come to a few of the school games and that, even on Saturday mornings before the first team were playing in the afternoon.
Oh, really?
So things like that. And Archie used to pop up at games along the way as well, you know. So no, I don't think they were they were. Everybody says they were good at man management, you know. So again, it's an old cliche that they knew who to treat with an arm round them. They knew how to give somebody a bollocking, that they would react to that, you know. So it was a bit of everything mixed in with that, you know.
Have you got a favourite goal?
Favourite goal? I think it would probably be, although we got beat, I think it was in the Skull Cup final. Yeah. And I think it's a favourite goal because I'd scored to make it 3-2 and there was 5 minutes to go. So for that 5 minutes to go, I'm running about thinking, I've just scored the winner here in the cup final. And then Robert Fleck pops up, I think it was with 2 minutes to go to make it 3 each, you know. So, but that was one of my favourite goals for Aberdeen because I got a really good contact on it and it flew into the top corner. And I was at the Aberdeen end as well, you know, and a lot of my family and a lot of my schoolmates, friends were all in that. It was the old Hampden where they're all jammed in, you know. So all my friends and family were in that kind of area. So
brilliant, mate. Thank you so much. It's been fantastic having you on.
No problem. Anytime, Alec.
All right, mate. Speak to you soon. Take care, Willie.
Cheers.
Bye,
Cheers.
bye, 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 bye. Thank you, Willie. Here's your match stats. Aberdeen have only won 2 of their last 9 home league games against St Johnstone. After their 2-0 win in February, St Johnstone could win back-to-back league games against us for the first time since October 2015. St Johnstone have lost 4 of their last 5 league matches, conceding 2 or more goals in 4 of those games. Chris Graham is the referee, and on VAR is Greg Aiken. Now, if you can't get to the match, here is Dolly Digital's front cover of the Wretch Matchday magazine, featuring Junior Hoylett. And it's full, as always, with great features and articles. Our award-winning programme. The weather. It's going to be cloudy tomorrow. High of 10 degrees at kickoff. The low will be 9, and they're expecting not much wind throughout the game. There we go. My abiding memory of Willie Falconer is that ball that he put across the 6-yard box for Mark McGee to tap in at the back stick against Upesh Doza right at the death of the quarterfinals of the Cup Winners' Cup in 1984. That's an abiding memory of Willie Falconer. An absolutely top lad. Right, let's get back to some of your comments. Right, hold on. Where are we going? Okay, so sorted the mic. Had a wee play. Should be okay now. Grant Stewart had said, donations and gift memberships. Click on the $ in the rectangle icon, which is to the right of the chat text entry dialog box. So I can actually see it now. So during that chat with Willie, I was having a quick look, and there's a little $. Looks like a $. Aye, it is. So if you want to donate, because I'm not saying you have to donate. What I'm saying is that a couple of folk got in touch and asked how to donate. So I'm just sort of talking you through it. You just click that button and then just, honestly, knock yourself out. So thank you for those who have got in touch and asked how to do that. The musical box has said, refs have an interest in football growing up or they wouldn't become officials in the game. David Gold has said, Dons against St Johnstone is a notoriously drab fixture, 1-1 or 0-0, but hoping for a 5-0 win. Oh yeah, Paul Donaldson makes a good point. £35 a ticket for the Hibs match. Honestly, the mind boggles. David Gold said, because we were talking about this earlier, about the restricted view, sometimes at Pittodrie, David Gold has said restricted view was probably a blessing this season. Sugarland has said, Peter Leven's record, which is good, he's just posted it, played 7, won 3, drawn 3, lost 1. John Grant. Hi, John. How are we? Come on, the Dons. Let's get the job done. We need to keep the momentum going. What a decent job Peter is doing. Bob's here. Good evening, all. Hi, Bob. How you doing? He said, no shinny tomorrow, please. The musical box has said, we don't just need a big guy in midfield. We need a mobile and a physical big guy. Yep. Barry Cole makes a good point. He said it was good to see Graham Shinney and Connor Barron down at Hampden supporting the lads in midweek. Yeah. Okay, so Sugarland has come on. He said, this is an urban myth, possibly true. Willie Falconer was hassled by a punter in Gino's chipper. The punter said to him, you are the worst AFC player since Doug Considine and Walker McCall. Cue a belting down the back of the Odeon. Shouldn't laugh, but one does find that rather amusing. Barry came back, makes a very good point, and I meant to do this today. So there's going to be a tifo tomorrow in the Richard Donald stand for Duncan Punk Clark, who was known as the leader of the Beach End in the 1970s and 1980s, who sadly passed away. I have very little recollection of Punk because I think I was a little bit too young, but I am convinced that when we moved the home support from the Beach End to the Merklin stand, that he was right at the back, right in the middle with a pocket of guys, and I think the reason I remember him is because he always wore a jacket that had lots and lots and lots of badges on it. And I think he always wore two scarves round his wrists. And he was the one that always got everybody going. So it's a very, very, it's a long distant memory. But I think that was Punk. So there's going to be a tifo to remember him, which I think is absolutely magnificent. It was organised by a chap, I think it was, I hope I've got the name right, Andy Forbes, I think, organised it. The money raised for Punk, or the money that they were hoping to achieve was achieved very, very quickly, which I just think goes to show the highest regard that Punk was held in by the Aberdeen support. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. And it's great to remember Punk this way. So Sugarland says, I contributed. Brilliant, Sugarland. Duncan Forbes has said, send Iniesta and Devlin off on holiday now. Illness and injuries have clearly taken a toll. The rest would only benefit them and the team. Transmission GGB in reference to Willie Falconer says, that 3-3 game against the Old Rangers must still hurt after Willie won a penalty and we were ahead 3-2 with a few minutes to go. God, those two games were just heartbreaking. Musical Box said, yeah, Willie Falconer was never going to replace Frank McDougall, the late Frank McDougall. Paul Donaldson is asking, does anyone think we'll see Ruby come on for a while tomorrow? You never know. You never know. Bob came back to say, I'd play both Junior and Duke tomorrow with Jamie in between and Dante and Leighton protecting. Yep. He also said Jack Milne to start. The Musical Box has asked, it's possible Ruby will get a cameo, but tomorrow is a must-win, so he may have to wait another game. Barry Cole is asking, is Willie still involved in football? He is with Fulham. Nicola Beaton has said, I was really sorry to see today that Clint Dempsey is leaving his position as the ladies' coach. Yeah, I wish I knew why, actually. I think he's been brilliant on Red TV. Have you seen him on Red TV? He's absolutely fantastic. Barry Kohler said, yeah, it was due to distance from his family. Okay. Transmission GGB said, St Johnstone are always a struggle for us at home. 1-0 or 1-1, he's predicting. Oh, Bob has come on and said, he's starting a new job tomorrow at Pataudry, supporter engagement executive. Really looking forward to it. That's fantastic, mate. Congratulations. And I hope that's absolutely brilliant. I'm delighted for you, mate. Brilliant. Fantastic news. Enjoy every moment, mate. Barry Cole said, yeah, it was Andy Forbes. Good. I'm glad I got that right. Bob is asking, is Willie from Aberdeen? He is. He's a Maastricht lad. Michael Taylor said, good evening, Ali and fellow Dons fans. Let's get in and about this lot tomorrow and put this playoff fear that the media talk about to bed. Come on, your Reds. Right, so that's all the comments that have come in for just now, but we've still got one item to get through, and this is the historical piece. So on this day, back in 1980, Aberdeen win the league for only the second time in their history after thrashing Hibs 5-0 at Easter Road, coupled with Celtic only drawing against St Mirren. So Alex Ferguson temporarily lost his mind at the full-time whistle. That happened all those years ago on this day. Now, I have to confess that we'd only been in Aberdeen for Newborough. We'd only been in Newborough for about a year when Aberdeen won the league. And I have very, very slight recollections of it. What I do remember is my dad waxing lyrical about the team on Monday morning when the Press and Journal dropped before breakfast on the Monday morning before Dad went to work and we went to school. And I just remember I think there was a pull-out. I'm sure there was a pull-out. My memory may have slipped there, but I'm sure there was a pull-out in the Press and Journal all about the victory. And I again, not much recollections about us winning the league. I remember my grandpa talking about it, because I'm sure if you've watched the show regularly, you'll know that my grandpa was a renowned and much loved and respected football journalist in Scotland. And I remember him saying what a big deal it was to stop Celtic and Rangers winning the league. And how I remember him talking to me about Sir Alex Ferguson. And I've told this story time and time again, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself and if you've not heard the story before. But my grandpa actually sort of played an indirect role in Sir Alex Ferguson's managerial career, because he was very friendly with a gentleman called William Todd, who was the chairman of St Mirren in the 70s. And he knew my grandfather really well and called him one day and asked him for his recommendation of who he thinks should be the next St Mirren manager. And my grandpa offered him the name of Sir Alex Ferguson and said, you should go and check him out. This kid at East Stirlingshire, he could be your man. And the rest is history. So there was a bit of a connection there between my grandfather and Sir Alex Ferguson. So I always remember my grandfather talking about it, because it would still be a good year before we actually went to our first game at Pittodrie. Because I don't really know why my father was sort of hesitant to take us to the games. And eventually he bowed and he took us to the games. But I remember, that was really when I think I first started to take note of Aberdeen and understand football and get to know the players through the Press and Journal, Evening Express, watching them on Sports Scene, watching them on Scott Sport. Because I was only, back then, 8 years old, something like that. So yeah, that's kind of roughly how my love for the team was built, was from that team winning the league and then taking it from there. Right, let's see if there's any more comments coming in before we close off tonight. Oh, wait, whoa. Right, lots and lots came back in off the back of that. Right. Gavin Wilson is asking, Ali, are you any more forward with the project on here? Right, okay, so I'm going to tell you because it's been sorted. So the idea that I had was, throughout my broadcasting career, I had very little training. It was minimal. And I was always sort of thrown in at the deep end, and it was sink or swim. So I didn't get much formal training when I was a presenter, and I certainly didn't get any formal training when I stepped behind the camera to work in production. And the feedback was limited. And I used to crave feedback because I felt it was the only way I could improve. Because you could obviously watch yourself, but I was a little bit uncomfortable doing that. So I always craved people giving me feedback, but it was never really forthcoming. And the only thing I ever got was the negativity. I was always told what I did wrong, and I was never told what I did right. And that always used to kind of bug me a little bit. So anyway, so I thought to myself, if I approach one of the colleges in Aberdeen and go to their broadcast department, those students who are studying sports or broadcast journalism, whatever the case may be, I thought there could be an opportunity on this little platform for maybe a student to gain some valuable experience. And what I mean by that is that with the blessing of their lecturers in the college, I would take them under my wing and I would kind of advise them and guide them and use my own experience and knowledge to sort of help them gain valuable experience. So what I thought I could do is try and find a reporter for ABTV who would get a full match day experience at Pittodrie. So they get to understand the mechanics of how a press box would work. And then after the game, they would go, just before the final whistle, they'd go outside and they would meet and greet fans as they filter out the stadium and just basically interview fans about what they've just watched. And obviously they've got to think editorially about what sort of questions they're going to ask. They do a little sort of signature piece at the beginning of the feature to say, hello, I'm Joe Bloggs, we're at Pittodrie, looking forward to the game. And then at the end to say, right, so Aberdeen won 2-0 today. Hope you enjoyed all the fan reaction and yeah, whatever they want to say. And then we package it all together and then we put it out as part of the review show on a Sunday night. So it's basically killing two birds with one stone. I get the content, which would be great, and the student gets the experience. And my thinking behind it is that for me, it doesn't really matter whether you work on this tiny little YouTube channel or you work for Sky Sports or BBC Scotland or whoever. The DNA and the mechanics of it all is still exactly the same. So you've still got to understand how to editorially think about asking questions. You've got to think about how you set up your camera. You've got to think about how you address the camera, the sort of questions you're going to ask, how you present yourself to the camera. So the DNA of it it's exactly the same, whether it's here or whether it's on Sky Sports or TNT or whatever they call it these days. So that's what I wanted to do, was I wanted to take somebody under my wing and just try and give some of my experience back to a student who could gain some valuable experience through this platform before they step into the scary world of television broadcast. So that was the idea. So I took the idea to the North East College. They loved it. They're absolutely on board. And what we're hoping to do is to try and get somebody in place for the final game of the season, if we can. If we can't do that, we will definitely have somebody for the beginning of next season. And the idea is to not just have one person, but to have a number of different students who I'm hoping you will all become familiar with. And they will basically be an ABTV match day reporter on the ground. And then obviously I will just give them the feedback and tell them what they did right, tell them what they did wrong, tell them what I think they could improve on and all that sort of stuff. And what I'm hoping is that they just gain some experience going into hopefully what will be their first job in broadcast. So that's the idea. And thankfully, the North East College were they loved the idea. They were bang on, and I have to say they've been absolutely brilliant to deal with. So fingers crossed we can get it over the line for the Livingston game. If not, it'll definitely be in place for next season. So that was the idea. And honestly, you've got no idea how excited I am about it. And your membership contributions have gone towards us doing this. Right. So a lot of you are going back to the Hibs game that when we won the league. Barry Cole said, amazing scenes. The musical box said it was a fantastic achievement. I remember it well. Sugarland said, I was 9 years old. Remember running around crazy in the house. Barry came back to say, always remember Scanlon's screamer. Also the stand full of dandies. Sorry, I'm just quickly reading through some of your comments here. Bob has said, what a day. Lovely spring afternoon in Edinburgh. Sugarland has said, my biggest gig was delivering the morning newspapers on Thursday, the 12th of May, 1983. Oh, magic. So good. A lot of you are commenting about this idea that I've just told you about. Thank you. Delighted that you all like the idea. That's brilliant. Magic, guys. I'm just reading your comments now, which is fantastic. Thank you, Barry. Brilliant. Amazing. So look, that's all the comments that come in. We've done what? We've done over 40 minutes now. We've done nearly 45 minutes. So that's been a bumper show. So guys, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Sorry it's been a little bit long. Didn't expect it to go on so long. So thank you so much for contributing, as always. And all that's left, as always, on a Friday night is to say the very best of luck to the lads tomorrow. Get it over the line. Then we can relax a bit. And then, we just go again, don't we? So let's keep this record going under Peter. Let's keep the good results going. Let's keep the winning games going. And let's hope for a decent performance. Last week was a bit stop and start. I'm hoping tomorrow we can start the game a bit faster than what we've normally been doing. And just good luck to the lads. Right, so I'll see you again on Sunday night for the review show. So have a fantastic Saturday. Take good care of yourselves. And I'll see you soon. Stand free.